I've got it covered.
I know.
And actually, weather issue, because I know oh, I will. Particularly, I'm actually
Yeah. Something like 2.5.
Oh, yeah, 2.5. Apparently, supposed to be more than
Right.
Who not?
May take some special.
Nobody can read it.
It would just
That's why I don't like.
But it's slow,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Another word, another, now therefore, further result of that. Yeah.
You ever need to chat?
Okay, now let's do that.
Days.
Now, Ted's gonna do the bills next week.
6 o'clock, call the October 25th meeting to order and ask clerk to take.
Walters?
Here.
Dvorak?
Here.
Vogel? Here. Sarchet?
Here.
First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. I have no additions or corrections. I'd take a motion, please.
So move.
Second?
Roll call.
Vogel? Yes. Sarchet?
Yes.
Walters?
Yes.
Dvorak?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item is recognition for the Citizens Academy participants. I'm going to ask Chelsea to kind of give a quick overview of what it was, and then I got some.
Yes, so the city started a new program this year called the Citizens Academy, and we had about 15 people participate in the academy this year. I will say we had about 15 outstanding citizens for our first go around, and it was a very great turnout, and we had great participation and enthusiasm to participate. So I asked some of the participants to come tonight, and then some of them will also be attending November 8th. And I'd like the council to publicly recognize those participants.
I've got some certificates here, so I'll come down. I'll read your name, and then if you want to raise your hand or something. Yeah. And if I butcher your last name, I truly apologize. So this one's easy right off the bat. Tim McCann. Tim, your certificate. Thank you for participating. Let's see. Next one, Angie McCann. I'm guessing sitting right next to Tim. That was a good guess. I like. Jeff Savage. Jeff, thanks for participating.
Thank you.
Steve Karjan. Thanks for participating. Christy Steva?
Yep.
Am I right? Good. Thanks for participating.
Thank you.
Steve?
That would be me.
Okay, you can say your last name. How's that?
Boyakano.
Okay, well, I would have really butchered it, so thank you. Ashley Delaney. Off to the side. Robert McCracken. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Last one, Tom McGovern. Right in the back.
Thank you so much.
So anyway, thank you guys for spending your time. I know that it was enjoyed by staff. I did hear from a lot of them. So thanks for giving back to Polk City. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Sure.
What were a couple lessons learned, or what was the biggest takeaways? I'm just curious on, I remember we talked about it up here, but it's certainly not the same. What was your best experience? Just a couple of people.
From participants only.
I wasn't coaching him at all.
So we're new to the community. We just moved here in December. And just to learn everything about public works and police and fire and all the different departments, it made me feel like this was my city. And it was just not a living place or something that I spend my time with, but it was my city. And I think that was my take.
Great, thank you.
Did Mike pay you to say public works?
He will.
Yeah, I know.
Who else had their hand? Did you have your hand up?
I would just
same
reiterate
thing.
what
Okay.
he said. I felt that learned a lot about city government. I have fire chief sitting next to me, so I have to say that. But yeah, it was just a wonderful experience, and I learned a lot. I too have only been here for 3 years, and I feel like this is my home now.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I was really impressed by the commitment and the knowledge of all the presenters, all the department heads. It was a very interesting to be able to learn more about the city, and it's a lot more complicated than what I had thought. So I appreciate the opportunity to learn something about.
Prepare to be disappointed tonight.
Do you have something to say?
I was just gonna say, we moved here in June, so we have not been here very long either, but, it was very nice to get to know people, to be introduced to the, heads of departments. I was impressed how well everybody works together, and how closely, I don't know, everybody just pitches in and gets jobs done around here. I also felt like, knowing some of this, gives me a little bit of, I don't know, courage maybe to put myself out there and participate a little bit in some of these things. So I thought that was great.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And welcome to the community.
Can I say
Yes,
one
sir,
last thing?
please.
I agree with what everyone said. I also want to recognize that the enthusiasm of the staff that presented should be recognized, because that was a breath of fresh air. Everybody was enthusiastic, and it was great. We all participated, everybody in the class. There was a lot of Q&A, and I've been in these before where it wasn't so back and forth. And I think we fed off each other, and it was really good. So I think we do this again next time, I think, there's going to be a bar that's going to be set. So.
And much appreciation to Chelsea for organizing. It was very organized. It ran very smoothly, so that was wonderful.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
That is great to hear, and you know, as the more people that meet Chelsea, spread the word, because that bodes well for all of us. So and department heads, these guys. But yeah, that's really great information.
I just real quick too before I'm glad that you guys see what we see in our staff. I think, you guys all mentioned it, and it wasn't just for you. I mean, that's what we see all the time. So I'm, number one, really want to thank you for your time commitment to come and learn more about our city and everything. But I'm also very glad that you got to experience our staff here. They're wonderful, and thanks for recognizing them as well.
So we do have one more certificate.
Sorry.
That's all right. We're not trying to say anything, but you can meet. Come on, come walking in a bike. You come walking in a bike helmet. Come on. I mean, that deserves something. Ashley Delaney, everybody. Yeah.
It's like she has an interest in Parks and Recs and everything,
I had to get chicken strips on 3 kids.
Oh, okay. Okay, we'll give you that.
Thanks for your participation, Ashley, as well.
Thanks.
Do you think there's a way to target people specifically, given some feedback, just maybe
Yeah,
take away?
yeah,
I mean,
I
open
think
it
we
up to
can.
everybody, obviously, but I do like it as an introductory.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is public comments. This is time and place for comments for any item other than those in a public hearing. Is there anyone who submitted their name?
Yes.
Perfect. Moving on. Consent agenda. Take a motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
Questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Vogel,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
DeVore.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item under business, item A, community visioning request for artist proposals for Polk City Mural. Please here to speak to that.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so my name is Matt White. I am a resident here in Polk City, and I am a member of the Polk City Community Visioning Subcommittee for Murals. So, as probably real quick background, just to kind of reminder about community visioning. As most of you know, a group of Polk City residents, including myself, went through an extensive community visioning process in 2020. This was sponsored by Iowa Living Roadways. One of the key themes and goals that emerged from this exercise was community beautification. So as we thought about community beautification and we dug deeper into what we could do to achieve that goal and that vision of community of beautification, we found that community murals were a really great way to achieve that objective. When we looked at other communities, we saw that murals in a community add distinctive character. They communicate community identity, and a lot of times they attract visitors, and it becomes a focal point in the community. So we decided that that is a really good thing to focus our efforts on, is to look into how we can add murals into and integrate them into our community. So as a subcommittee, our vision is to enhance the natural, cultural, and visual resources across Polk City through public art. And so the reason why I'm here right now is to request to seek formal approval to proceed with an RFP on 2 city-owned sites. They're outlined in RFP document. I'm not sure if you all received this document. It's about a 3-page document that outlines these 2 sites and has pictures, and it's the document that we would like to submit to artists for proposals. I just want to be crystal clear on what we're asking for today. We're not asking for final approval on any murals because we're not there yet. What we're asking for is permission or approval to proceed with this RFP, to reach out to artists to get more information. As of right now, a lot of the details around what it will take to get a mural done, to complete a mural, like costs, funding, and a lot of the details. In order to get to that point, we really need to get proposals back from artists so that we know these details so that we can really move forward. So some overview on, I guess, a few details that I'm sure you'll be curious about regarding the scope, timeline, cost, and funding. I would say a lot of those details are unknown until we get actual proposals back from artists, but I can touch on a little bit on each one of those items to just let you know what we're thinking right now, what we know right now, but just know that we need to learn more to, I would say, get to a point of finalizing any sort of proposal. So as far as locations go, if you have the document available and up right now, the site that we're seeking proposals for 2 sites. They're outlined on page 1 of the RFP document, and there's pictures associated on page 3. Both sites are city-owned. Site 1 should be very familiar. It's the northeast side of the community center here. When we were looking for and prioritizing sites for murals, this site really stood out as the high value place for a mural. It's big, it's visible, it's in close proximity to the city square, and it has the potential to really be a focal point for our community and an attraction for visitors. In addition, it's en route for proposed bike path up Broadway. So as people come and visit Polk City, it really has the potential to be something really cool for the community. The second site that we are looking for proposals on is the concrete retaining wall that's located on the west side of 3rd Street. So we really think this is a great location for a mural, as this is one of the main thoroughfares going into the city. And we really think that it has the potential of becoming a welcoming gateway sign as you come into our town square, as the town square is really the focal point of our community. It's a major hub for our community. And so we believe that a mural here, if done right, can add to the existing charm that our current town square has. Regarding timeline, we are targeting at least one mural installation during this or during our 2022. In order to achieve this, we would like to get artist proposals back by November 30th. There's not leaving a lot of time, but depending on how things go, we do have flexibility to move that a little bit. And we would like to make our selections, narrow our selections down by the end of December. Regarding costs, I'll tell you, we don't know a lot about costs on this, and there's really good reason on that. It's because it varies pretty drastically between artists. We did do some initial research, and we found that it can vary between $5 to $20 per square foot. We've seen from other cities that it could be bigger than that, but we believe that that is the reasonable range for what we have and the artists that we will have available to us. We are asking for separate price quotes for each location, so they are not tied together. They are separate proposals, and so that if we don't raise enough funds for both sites, then we can just do one. From a funding perspective, we plan to fund this project through grants and local fundraising. We believe that we can raise enough money to cover that. We plan to really focus our efforts on fundraising and creating public awareness at the beginning of the year. Another reason to go through an RFP process right now with artists is that by getting proposals in advance, we believe that this will help in the fundraising because we'll actually have conceptual designs from real artists to be able to show to the public for fundraising purposes. So we believe that having those proposals in place will be able to do that. So as far as next steps go, it would be getting proposals out to artists as soon as possible. We're planning to submit RFP through the Iowa Arts Council. I think most of the people on this subcommittee have contacts that we plan to send the RFP to get feedback from. We have contacts that we are literally just getting feedback from, and like I said, in beginning of 2022, really hit it hard with fundraising. Any questions?
I think it's great. Thank you for taking this on. I know it doesn't pay very well, but really do appreciate anything like this that you have a passion for, because, it's something I really haven't even thought about, but the fact that that's why Visioning Committee is around, and why the subcommittees are here, people that do that. So really appreciate that, Matt.
Thank you.
For taking the reins and running, doing the RFP and putting your time into this. It's very much appreciated.
Yeah, it's not just me. There's
Yeah, right.
people there. So
You're representing them right now, but
But that's it, Dave, and obviously I'm biased. I'm on the subcommittee with Matt and Steve, and Jeff's got to be enthusiastic because his wife's on too, and hopefully the doors will be locked if he says anything sideways about it when he gets home. But it is exactly what you said, Dave, and this is, I think, a microcosm for me is when one of the, I think it was one of the architect, I can't remember who it was, but one of the community visioning people brought up the idea of a mural on those retaining walls, driven by that stupid gray slab thousands of times and never once thought, let's put a picture on that thing. And community visioning with expertise from people who had done this elsewhere saw that like the first time they drove by. And it's like, okay, this might be worth it right there, right? And so that type of, and then once we went through the list, and I guess that would be my, I think Matt did a great job of laying things out, but I would kind of maybe challenge this group and staff to think somewhat audaciously with this. We came up with a list of 20 different potential spots for murals, and however many years down the road, how cool it would be to be identified as, oh, that place has all those pictures and murals, or, you know, I just think that would be a neat thing for us, because we do have, there are logistical issues. This is, you know, maybe not the perfect canvas to put a mural on, and, you know, some of the things we identified aren't on city-owned land. Some of them are federally owned, which will be something to extensive bridge to cross, literally. But nonetheless, I do think that I think there probably will be city costs to this. I'm hoping that there isn't, but hopefully preparing for a willing participant in the city, if there isn't, to get that ball rolling. First one is probably going to be the most difficult, and the second one gets easier, and the third one, and that momentum hopefully just flows. So it's been a great group to work with. I'm really excited, and these guys can probably attest, a little bit impatient on our timeline, but I just really think it can be a neat differentiator for us, given the spots we have. And hopefully, I think the other thing too, that we've tried to straddle that fence between having enough of a vision to move ahead while not being too prescriptive in what it's going to be. Let the creative people do the creative process. If there's a thematic nature to, you know, a few of these that can tie together, great. If they're independent, some things we can hire a professional for, and some maybe there's an art class for. I don't know, but we talked about all of this, and I think that there's a good potential for momentum if we get the rolling here. That may involve a little bit of expense if need be, and I think that's money. I mean, as Matt said, the figures range, right, from not probably a ton to something crazy, and I'm not saying to spend a crazy amount of money on this, but kind of set the table, that being part of this. So, thanks, Matt.
I think that's a great idea, and I echo the appreciation for the group and coming up with this. I'm admittedly not like, you know, super art savvy or anything like that, but as you've seen murals other places, and I don't know, you just kind of smile when you see them, you know, so I mean that emotional aspect of it, that, yeah, it's just like, oh wow, look at that, but then I think you touched on it, that, you know, or whoever, but yeah, people, especially in this day and age of selfies, like people are going to want to get their picture taken with our murals, and you know, that'll hopefully support our business community as well, that people will stop and linger in Polk City and, you know, enjoy our businesses as well. So yeah, again, it's a mural, but I think it is a much bigger thing, which is exactly what you guys are working towards. So thank you.
And I have just a couple of questions. I'm certainly not opposed, obviously, to the visioning. I do want to go to bed tonight, but have you guys talked to other communities about the short-term, long-term costs and maintenance? You guys had those conversations with anyone?
A little bit. There is a maintenance component. Like, the murals don't last forever, and especially on surfaces like, I'm trying to think, the other concrete wall where there's a drainage piece to it that adds to it, right? And so, you know, with the steel building over here, it's all in place, but it is not. It is a non-zero number that will come with this.
I wasn't sure if you guys had that conversation with anybody.
Yeah, there's things that we found that we can do to prolong the life. Sealing the mural, I think, is an important thing. Making sure that if they use high quality paint, and kind of looking at what other communities have done, I think that's a big lesson learned is don't skimp on the quality of paint, because it does make a difference on how long the mural lasts. But as Rob said, it's not in depth.
Sure.
With these two sites, you know, we put them in, and we hope to have them last a while. But we've also have other sites where we're looking at potentially having real quick temporary murals that maybe like the art department and can use to put stuff up on, and have it be kind of a changeover, you know, every year or 6 months or 3 months or something like that. So I think there's a lot of other opportunities for mural.
And have you guys talked to the department heads about the locations at all? If they provide any kind of feedback or opinion to what they want or don't want?
I don't know if we have, we've had a few conversations, mostly funneled through Chelsea, and got, and we had a question on who actually owns the retaining wall. It's right next to, private property, and I did talk to the neighbors. There was I think a good conversation that we had. This is a community thing, but particularly in those instances, want to make sure that the people that live right there, literally right there, are on board with it. They were, in large part. So there are a number of logistical things to go through and points we'll take.
Because we hit on that one on Third quite a bit, just because it was adjacent to Papa's and just kind of made sense to put something there. I just want to make sure we run that to ground, that we know who actually owns that, and that might actually take some legal or some survey just to confirm it. Since, I think that some of that stuff was put in kind of last minute when 3rd Street was reconstructed here 15 years ago, just to make sure we're not.
I asked Mike, and he says we own that one, right? That retaining wall?
I'm not legal.
Okay.
I understand that we own all 3 of them.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, awesome, thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
I don't think so, because it says the council.
Yeah, there was nothing.
Yeah,
there was
I
nothing.
think it's fine.
Okay. All right, cool. Next item, resolution 2021-111, approving plat of survey 402 and 406 Walnut Street. Who's speaking to that?
So this plat of survey was submitted by.
You don't want to introduce yourself?
Oh, Travis Thornberg was
Okay,
saying
Travis,
this.
sorry.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all right. That's it.
So this plat of survey was submitted by Cooper and Crawford on behalf of Kyle Hout. And it is subdividing an existing lot just northwest of Come and Go up here, into 2 single-family lots. Both parcels will meet the R2 district for single-family dwellings, and they will be detached homes. The engineer and the developer have addressed all of our comments, and we recommend approval of the site.
Great. Kyle, got anything to add?
Thank you.
Perfect.
Pretty explained there.
Excellent. Anybody want to make a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, Lakewood's Plat 2. First item, resolution 2012-112, accept comments. Who speak to that?
Travis Thornberg saying this.
Good job, Travis.
So this is a residential development of R1A and planned unit development housing with various single-family lots located in both R1A and PUD, and then by-attached townhomes, as well as a detention facility and an HOA. These improvements included reconstruction of the Davis Street and Roosevelt intersection, the Edgewater Drive and Roosevelt intersection, and then the longitudinal street of Edgewater Drive and Roosevelt. Snyder and Associates reviewed all of the contractor submittals, the materials, as well as provided administrative help, and Public Works provided observation. To our knowledge, these improvements have been constructed in general conformance with the construction drawings by council. We recommend approval or acceptance of the public.
Questions or comments? Motion?
No questions. I just want to acknowledge staff on this one. So long time coming to get to the final stage on this one. A lot of meetings, and maybe not in a straightforward manner, I'll say it that way, but I think these intra-city, they're all intra-city, but from a connectivity standpoint, we're connecting Roosevelt to Edgewater and Edgewater to Parker, and I think all developments are important. These are maybe a little bit different in that importance, and so the fact that this has taken so long is important to get done right with the church there, with the Quick Star on Parker and development around there. So But I think it's a value add, too, not to say that the connections are the only value add, for you, some, home edition, but, I know this required extra work for she.
I also think this is, what we've talked about in the past, and that's affordable, housing, right? It's not the average mean house that goes here in Polk City if you're trying to either buy a new one or resell. I think these, correct me if I'm wrong, but these will be houses that maybe first-time homeowners can afford. Unless I'm incorrect, I mean, they're villas, and I really like that, the buy-attached townhome lots. That is a really good, I think, value add to the community because it is expensive to buy a home here. And any of these, any additional development we can have that connects, but also allows a diverse, the first-time home buyer come in, or whatever the case may be. I really like that too. So it's a good value add as well.
I mean, you're making a motion.
I did.
Perfect.
I'll make a motion.
Roll call.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, resolution 2021-113, approving final plat, engineers exhibit, right-of-way and easements. Do you have anything to add, Travis?
Other than late last week, Amy reviewed the legal descriptions, and they all appear to be in order. So that does vary from what was included back.
Did the remainder of the legal documents get reviewed too? There was a pretty long laundry list of them.
They all did.
Yeah.
They were all provided by the developer.
B1, B8. No issues then?
No, none that haven't been addressed. There were a
Right.
few, but they've all been taken care of.
Take a motion.
Motion to approve resolution 2021-113.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Vogel,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, resolution 2021-114, accepting the public improvements associated with Edgewater Drive extension.
These were public improvements, actually just west of Lakewood's Plat 2, that were deferred by Bruce Lefko when he built the townhomes. This made the connection from the west edge of Lakewood's Plat 2, made the tie-in to Parker Boulevard, as well as the associated storm sewer and sidewalk. Again, Snyder and Associates assisted with review of the material submittals, administration of the construction project, and then Public Works provided the observation throughout construction. We recommend approval.
Take a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Roll call, please.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Dvorak, Vogel.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, 2019 street repair project. First item, resolution 2021-105, approving change order number 2, in the amount of a negative $18,518. Who's jumping? Come on, it's a negative. Who's taking
I'll
it? There you go. Okay. You guys want to add anything to that? I mean, that's a pretty good number. We don't get those a lot.
That's just the net closeout. This project didn't encounter any negative or poor soils, so we were able to deduct most of the mitigation costs associated with that, including pour out and replacement of the material. That's where a bulk of that came from, and then there were a couple of other storm structures that we didn't have to replace, or were replaced as part of separate Public Works projects due to situations.
Great. Roll call, please.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
So
Motion carries.
just a question on the timing. So we aren't typically 2 years behind on our street projects and closing them out, right? It was just waiting for some of those soil results, or talk to that a little bit. It doesn't change anything, and I'm sorry to bury the lead on the negative number, but just curious.
We had to have the contractor replace 3 areas of sod 3 separate times.
Okay.
They were installing it and then proceeding to either
leave it.
Yeah, whether it be poor weather conditions, not getting help from a resident, whatever it may have been. It was sod replacement and then just not really getting around to replacing it again. Or saying we're gonna wait and see if it comes back, and then we get outside the sodding window and it doesn't do us any good to sod in July.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Next item, resolution 2021-106, approving pay app number 6, the sub finally in the amount of $0.00 in acceptance of the project. Motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Dvorak, Vogel.
Motion carries. Next item, first reading of ordinance 2021-2100, mobile food vendors. Chelsea.
For the council's consideration this evening is a mobile food vendor ordinance that we have drafted up. The ordinance outlines rules and regulations for interested parties that want to offer mobile food services in the city of Polk city limits, and also outlines what the process would be. They will have to pull a permit. They will also have to provide insurance, and they will have to go through an inspection process through the fire department. We are going to offer 2 different permits. We would offer a permit that would be good for 3 days, or a annual permit that would be good for a full year. Does the council have any questions about the proposed ordinance?
I guess I do a little bit. Do you see, I know we talked about this in the past, and I guess a couple things. So first of all, a quick turnaround, because there's a meeting or 2 ago when we talked about this, so nice work on that front. And I like having, I don't want to use placeholder because that has a pejorative connotation, but I will. But to be flexible if there is an event, or a lot of these things are tailored to some type of event or something. So if there's some movement here on how to do this, as if we see needs arise, the festival, whatever, that kind of stuff. And the other thing is, have you seen anything where there's like a resident discount on some permit elsewhere? That may be something that I would see. I don't know if we have any proprietors of.
I've not seen it in any of the ordinances that I have worked on, nor reviewed.
A resident discount?
Yeah.
I've not seen one. But
maybe just an idea to, provide a little home field advantage for,
Okay.
again, I don't even know if there are any, but if there are, I would.
those are set by, in accordance with the ordinance, those are set by resolution anyway. Those
Yes.
fees, so that's something you could consider.
And we were gonna have the fee schedule on a future agenda. So
Okay.
you guys are not approving the fees.
Okay.
Per se, the ordinance, but we could work on a fee schedule.
We were going to bring the fee schedule to council with the 3rd reading. So that way they'd be active at the same time.
Okay, and like at staff discretion is maybe all, if they
Okay.
had to be flexible, I don't know if that maybe required.
That
Yeah,
I don't-
that
I'm not-
answers my
not
question.
comfortable with.
I can't see your whole face, but that was a bad idea. This is the part I can see, but something like, we don't have to be prescriptive, we can, I don't know, that just goes to that flexibility.
We'll do some research. We'll look into it. We'll look into what other fees are, and we'll see if we find anything. Make a recommendation based off that.
Nice work. Thank you.
Okay.
Motion, please. So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Vogel,
Yes.
Sarchet, Walters,
Yes.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, first reading of ordinance 2021-2200, amending chapter 57, dangerous vicious animals. You or Chelsea or Tom?
Chelsea.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, Chief's coming up. Ooh. Big things.
All right. During the last meeting, we had the vicious animal hearing, and during that, it suggested that our code is out of line compared to a lot of other metro communities. So we started doing some research on other communities around Polk City, mostly here in the Des Moines metro. And in doing that research, basically my findings there would be that we are not out of line with our definition of a vicious animal or dangerous animal, and I wouldn't recommend any changes to that. But we had also found another appeal option that I want to present to you guys as an option going forward for future vicious animal appeal process hearings. So basically that appeal, I guess the option I'm presenting to you would be, rather than the person appeal to the city council, they would appeal to a committee appointed by the city manager. That committee would consist of people that are experts in the animal field, like a veterinarian, animal trainers, and the city manager as well in that committee. So it consists of at least 3 people at a minimum, and whoever else we may find, the city manager would find to sit on that committee on more of a case-by-case basis. This process is used by several cities here in the metro, including Ankeny, Altoona, and Adel, and it just offers utilizing outside resources that have expertise in the area when it comes to reviewing a declaration of a vicious animal. And the ordinance as presented with you reflects all those changes, and it cleans up some other language, including an option for an animal that was deemed vicious. We previously had it permanently place such animal with an organization or group allowed to possess dangerous or vicious animals. I don't think that was a very clean definition. I know it was expressed by a lot of people that just meant it has to leave the city. Another suggestion in here would just to change the language of that to permanently remove the animal from the city or have it destroyed. Just kind of clean up a little bit of that as well. Any questions?
I really like this.
I was just gonna ask if Amy had anything to add to this at all, just compared to what other communities are doing. I know we talked a little bit about that.
Yeah, and the chief's correct in that most of the cities, there is an exception with Des Moines because of litigation that they went up to the Supreme Court with, so their ordinance is a bit different. But yeah, in terms of the other cities that are comparable to Polk City, that's the definition is in line with those cities.
All I needed to hear.
The reason I like this is because it's been several years ago, but we were faced with that exact situation where a family came in and we were to determine if the dog was, and it was the dog's family. The kids were crying. I mean, it was like we had to make a decision as an animal lover. Dogs, well, not cats, necessarily cats, not dogs, but it was so difficult. And everybody was happy at the end, but it was pulling at I didn't want to make that decision. I didn't feel like that was my role to make a decision, and animals are like family. So, who wants to make that decision? So I appreciate this. When I read it, I was like, that is perfect, because that allows people to know about it, to understand it, and then maybe better educate that person who owns that animal potentially. So thank you for that. I really do like this.
I agree, and I appreciate you looking into that definition, because I think that is a very, important thing to, kind of a sticking point. So to hear that we are consistent with others, I appreciate you taking the time to look into that. And then, yes, I also like this approach as well. Again, people that are know more about the disposition of animals, when something is truly vicious versus excitable or whatever there is. But brings a few more experts into the picture rather than, and not that we don't want things to be public, but that's a tough situation on either side, to be a thing that just is going on with people watching or whatever. It's again, I really like this approach. I think it's the best for all sides.
Yeah, so I guess I think I know the answer to this, but I just want to be clear and agree with both perspectives. And last meeting was having to do that again. The second time for me. I know Dave probably done it even more than I remember the time before that too, with the colored pictures and all that. And but I just want to be clear that we're moving to a better way, in your opinion. I don't want to be running from responsibility. I didn't like last meeting's content or the position that we were in or the situation or however you want to define it any more than anybody. It was not fun, right? To be as generous as possible. But if that is part of what we're supposed to do, then I get that. If there's a better way with more expertise, with more, experience and knowledge and those things that is fairer for the potential, residents or dog owner or animal owner, whatever it is. And that's the reason why we're doing it, then let's do it. But if it's a reaction to last meeting, and I'm not suggesting in any way that it is, I just want to be clear on the why matters here. It always matters, but it matters.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I definitely don't want this to be seen as a reaction from the last meeting by any means whatsoever. I think doing it this way, I think it is more fair for everyone, including myself, because if I make that declaration on an animal, I'd like to have professionals in the animal world to come in and say, I made the right decision on that. I'm not an expert with animals by any means. I've dealt with, usually the ones I deal with are not the nicest ones. So I have the experience there, but I think having an actual trained professional in that area would, I think it's just the most fair route to have. And it's really objective. I mean, they come in with that knowledge and they won't have any ties or connections to, maybe it's their neighbor.
Yeah.
Or their vet or, wherever the case is.
Okay, thank you.
Your motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Walters,
Yes.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, second reading of ordinance 2021-2000 backflow prevention. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Vogel,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, reports in particular. Staff have anything?
I just wanted to publicly thank the community for coming out for a pancake breakfast and supporting us. We had record numbers show up, so I appreciate that.
Anybody else up here?
I have one thing.
Yes, sir.
And it won't be long, but I wanted to just thank everybody for it's been a couple months. I had a couple people in my family pass away, my dad being a couple weeks ago, and so I haven't been here much. I didn't even know about the vicious, it's not funny, but so when I said I didn't know that happened last meeting, I guess I just had not. So I wanted to just thank everybody for the thoughts and the prayers and for covering and understanding just in the nice plants, everything. I really do appreciate that, and hopefully that will not be something that I have to deal with here for a while, so I can be here and be present. So just want to thank everybody for all that, and that's what I got.
Anybody else?
Yeah, we missed you, so it's good to have you back.
To be back, right?
Nice work, Chief. Pancakes were great. I should have said it earlier, but while Kyle was here and had to leave, but he may have done more in the last 18 months to redevelop. We don't have a lot in this town, which is a really great thing. Really proud of the fact that we don't have a lot of areas that need redevelopment, but Kyle probably has done more in the last 18 months than anybody else, any other single person, period. And that probably, I think, deserves some acknowledgement. So, and I guess, so I would consider what he's doing over here as redevelopment, to clarify. I do think that's important to note as a resident and builder. Yeah.
No.
Anybody else? If not, since Ron isn't here, who's going to pick up the lead?
So moved.
Ooh.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion adjourned. Meeting adjourned.
Oh, good, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you.